Foreman lines treating you. Hear anything good?
My only deal down I just don't get why we have to buy our own weapons from our own merchants.
Yeah.
Got people who can still touch sense here.
Greetings again. Hope that little day excursion you and I jawed about is going well. Libations or information? What's your poison?
The encampment had been razed. I'm sorry to say there were no survivors, but I believe we were able to uncover what transpired. I should add, your observations during the investigation were unexpectedly keen. Working beside you was a pleasure.
I'm surprised. Didn't know if you had it in you, especially with an Arbiter in tow. But you got what was needed. Not bad at all. I'd be happy to direct you to the broker. First, though, we've got a small issue. There's a malfunctioning lamp in the basement I need someone to take a look at. Here's a keycard to get you down there. You mind? Just trust me and go give it a look.
Yeah, how about this? I recruited a Protectorate subject direct link from Bastion, middle of a Protectorate holding.
Think I'll congratulate you for risking your hide to recruit one subject? Forgive me for withholding my applause.
You're jealous of my charms.
Yeah, real jealous. So are the half dozen Asiad execs I recruited last week. We're all just vomitous with envy.
Anyone had asked me, I'd have put the odds of a live Arbiter finding his way into my chambers at 1 in a few trillion. Good that you didn't come here for blood, Arbiter Rao. Barney would have sniffed it out and broken you in twain. And I do disdain mopping up Protectorate corpses. My apologies. Barney is sometimes overzealous in the guarding of my body, though when it comes to Protectorate Arbiters, it is perhaps warranted.
If you know who I am, you must know why I'm here. My mentor died under vague circumstances, and I desire any information pertaining to the specifics of her death.
Interesting. That question appears to be at odds with High Command's public statement on the matter. Losing faith in your masters?
No. But I cannot shake the sensation that something was awry with her passing. If you know something, tell me. Please.
I could get used to this kind of groveling. Your instincts are right, Arbiter. Though we don't know the specifics. I received information that your mentor's body bore signs of a fight, and a nasty one. Someone killed her.
I shall in time, when fewer prying ears abound.
If that's all, I think you'd best get along. I prefer not to sully my quarters with Protectorate lackeys. Live ones, anyhow.
And I prefer to limit my time with scheming blackguards. Let us take our leave from present company. Speak to me outside if you would. There's something I'd care to ask you. The Arbiter typically does not require the assistance of others. We are expected to act as wholly independent entities. But I fully realize that had I not your aid today, my investigation's progress would have stalled and withered. During our investigation, I gauged your trustworthiness and did not find it wanting. What say we travel together? I will keep to my convictions in any case, but I understand. What instructions would you have me follow? Ah, I should have considered this eventuality. I will listen to your words, and I shall follow your orders. I will not assail enemies of the Protectorate without your consent, though I will not like it. But if my sense of duty outpaces my willingness to comply with an order, or if you attack my brethren unprovoked, our relationship will come to an abrupt end. Excellent. I hope our working relationship is most fruitful. I'm sure we shall discover much together.
Rubbing shoulders with Protectorate arbiters now, are we? I'll reserve judgment. Hopefully, he can as well. And miss all this stimulating conversation? Fine. I shall go scrapbook my memorable intercessions, or otherwise reinforce your notion of activities enjoyed by people of my vintage.
Let us be off, Commander.
Let's see how well you Arbiters know basic history. Who constructed the Archive?
The matriarch did, of course. That scum. That miserable scum. To think he would stoop so low as to overthrow the Sovereign. I shall not rest until the Consul pays for his treachery, and Arcadia's rightful ruler is reinstated. I'm pleased to hear you hunger for justice. We shall certainly have no shortage of circumstances to slake your hunger. I fear how my fellow subjects will respond to this news. I believe that most will remain loyal to the Sovereign, but I will need to deal with those who strayed. I shall attend to that matter once it presents itself. I sincerely doubt this is the end of my thoughts related to the matter, but we've wasted enough time with my ruminating. Let us be off.
Moment of your time, Commander. Remember that matter on Cloister I mentioned earlier? Well, since we're here and all, thought we might take it up now. Might be hard to believe, but 20 or so odd years ago, I made a mistake. Feels like high time I righted it. Now I'm out and about again. That's where the error occurred, I believe. Others judged it such. I shut it down. Believe I was wrong to do so. For many years now, a former colleague of mine's been in a remote spot called Reasons Pass, on account of my decision. I try not to think about regret or remorse. I shut down her work. I was wrong. Stating that out loud is the furthest extent of my self-castigation. Her research was unconventional, surely. She was as well. I think with both, we could right things, get the Order back on its intended path. Do appreciate it, Commander. weather's quite conducive for cooling the archive, and unconducive for me feeling my fingers.
I find your proposed time frame leisurely, unaccountably so.
But going any faster grossly increases the threat of collapse. Burying us beneath the snow benefits no one.
So long as we are operating within the statistical parameters given to us. Percy, have you at least determined the cause of the damage?
What could possibly be keeping the repair personnel so long? Oh, greetings. By any chance, did you happen to encounter the repair personnel I dispatched to Resistor Bank 2789B12? Our new JTY-1030 resistor banks are built with enough durability to suffer through a tremendous amount of misuse. But the brutish handling by the Protectorate is too much for it. The misuse is causing moisture uptake, which causes the resistors to give off more heat. In the snow, that means more moisture, which means even more heat. I'm sure you can observe that the problem is cyclical in nature. I don't suppose you'd be willing to aid me in fixing this? It's down in the valley just southwest of the archive. The heat has liquefied all the snow off the glass surface. It is an easy location to observe. Ursopods, Protectorate forces, rogue scrappers, blizzards, mantisaurs, maybe even Auntie's choice forces. Truly a smorgasbord of unfortunate options. In the short term, it's wreaking havoc with the weather and causing small, localized blizzards. Long term, the archive would suffer irreparable damage to multiple systems. Undoubtedly, this would reduce its maximum operations per millisecond. Obviously, this is unacceptable. I loathe that, for now, our actions may aid the Protectorate, but we must protect the archive. Oh, this is most appreciated. Unfortunately, the previous repair personnel took the only repair kit I had on hand. I'll mark the coordinates of the resistor bank on your map, but locating the repair personnel will be up to you. If you find him, you find the kit. I hope. Otherwise, the repair will be most difficult. I'll guide you.
temporary indignities of the body are nothing contrasted to the Order's future. Keep those eyes open, soldiers! Corneal frostbite be damned! Hold. We're presently observing a ceasefire with Auntie's choice, but its duration may be subject to sudden reversal. Would hate for you to get caught in any crossfire. Gathering data on the enemy's movements and behavior. Blizzards raise the degree of difficulty, but that's our problem, not yours. Cloister has been a difficult front, and losing the Archive, first to the invaders and now to the Protectorate, has made it even more painful. Never mind the rifts. If you're looking for a way to help us out, I recommend heading to Laplace's garden. Follow this path and you can't miss it. Only the finest place on this ice ball. Words aren't sufficient to capture its many quality attributes. Best you observe it yourself. Avalanche collapsed part of the tunnel to the garden, so the safest path is along the cliffside here. Mind your step.
I still think approaching the Order is best. They at least try to base their beliefs on logic. And allying with them could increase our chances of success.
Heard that rift near the Archive has... Halt! The Oracle Laureate sent ahead to expect someone matching your description. However, he said nothing about admitting questionable... allies. Cultist. Agitators are not permitted inside Laplace's garden. Your companion will have to wait outside.
How'd you like to find your insides waiting outside?
I find that an improbable outcome were we to engage in violent conflict. Laureate Beckett did impress the importance of not delaying you. Very well, head on in. But behave yourselves. The garden is something of a fragile ecosystem.
know what surprised me the most? The sound an eyeball makes when it pops. I had no idea until that one time
Enough, dear. I may be out of practice with interpersonal relationships, but I see through your act. It's obvious you're trying to get a rise out of me.
You're right. I do tend to push things. I guess I can be a little embarrassed about how I act. Sometimes it's all I can do to keep from killing anyone I can get my hands on. I don't want people to think there's something wrong with me, so I hide my rage behind humor.
All right, then. Whatever you need to diffuse your rage so you're not, violently attacking your teammates. I'll just, keep an even closer watch on you from now on.
Agent, I have a message for you. Oh, I was not expecting you to be in the company of a cultist.
A cultist and her extremely sharp knife. Shall I introduce you?
No, that won't be necessary. Where was I? Oh, yes, I remember now. On behalf of the Order of the Ascendant and her impermeable wisdom, the presiding bishop Ruth Bassar, welcome to Laplace's garden. The presiding bishop is presently indisposed, but I've been instructed to direct you to the Artificer Laureate for whatever pressing matter has brought you to the garden. She's working in Belvedere Hall's secondary courtyard. Enter the large building at the top of the mesa ahead and follow the first hall on your right. The Artificer Laureate is head of the Department of Applied Scientism, overseeing the exemplars, or craftsmen, of our order. Weapons and technology all fall under her purview. Oh no, not at all. The presiding bishop routinely spends time in a sensory deprivation chamber to hone her mental faculties. Of course, she does seem to be logging more hours in the chamber of late, but I'm certain that's all part of the plan. The rest of the Laureate Council is capable of managing affairs while the presiding bishop is occupied. Really, it's no reason for concern. Nothing in the garden is. Look around you. I don't see a battlefield. Do you? I'm quite sure I don't know what refugees you're referring to. I fear our conversation has drifted from its central thesis. Continuing along this current trajectory seems unwise. Can I help answer any other queries for you? Belvedere Hall used to serve primarily as the garden's hub for all manner of research, instruction, and study. A beacon on the Hill of Progress. Since the Order's forced dispossession of Spyreton and the Archive, many spaces within the hall have been repurposed to serve as a temporary headquarters. Which is to say, please excuse our mess. We're still remodeling. Oh, yes. The vicar did ask me to direct you to him. How positively forgetful of me. He should be waiting for you in Belvedere Hall's main courtyard at the top of the stairs. May all your problems precede solutions.
place smells like science. Or maybe that's mad.
The scientician surplus. No more than what you need.
Welcome to the Scientician Surplus. I am the scientician in question. Any inquiries about the stock may be directed to me. It's there in the name, surplus. Of course you would.
Met the matriarch, but let's look at old Trista. Over the course of her visit-long appointment as presiding bishop, Ruth Basaris added multiple parameters to the calculated life.
A lot of space for refugees here. Guess the Order is more concerned with the idea of helping people than actually doing anything about it.
Oh, thank you very much. My friend is meeting me here
hypothesis about the flowers here.
Exposing them to melodic sound waves on a consistent basis did affect improvements on their overall flow.
And you controlled for the amount of carbon dioxide expelled from your mouth during these musical sequences?
Or just a wait.
Same strange abrasions. The operating theater is not conducting viewing dissections at this time. That is not an invitation to return to your study and perform exploratory surgery on yourself or a willing volunteer, just to be clear. That is best answered through observation. Here, have a look.
We must not guess. We must
I'm cutting you off there, Charles. That's your third conviction today. People will start to worry. Welcome to the CAF integration point. Will it be caffeine or convictions today? Regrettably, no. Our most recent studies show that such a combination is too potent for most scholars to handle. Convictions are statements which promote personal and professional confidence and well-being, leading to 22.9% more scientific breakthroughs in a given quarter. Interested? Then let's have a gush. I haven't spied you around before. New project appointment? Must be an adjustment, all things considered. I'd have run the mugs through the autoclave twice if I'd known the garden was receiving visitors now. All right, your turn. What questions have you got percolating in that mind of yours? I didn't hear a question. Everyone is simply contented by the good work they're doing to advance the plan. Everything in perfect exactitude, as Vicar Udicott might say. That said, if something more sinister was going on, would that concern you? Well, good thing nothing's amiss then.
You know, you do a passable impression of a scientician. Did you grow up near one of our settlements? Have a few years of order training?
I'm quite sure I don't know what you mean.
Oh, I understand you may technically count as a member, but there's a perfunctory element to your articulation. You don't believe in the plan, and you're clearly up to something. She sized you up almost immediately, Commander. Been softly probing you for information. I clocked her the first moment she opened her mouth. Appreciate that. I spent decades undercover with only self-affirmations to assuage my vacillating morale. Well, do I have to shoot up the place? Or will you come clean immediately? Who do you work for, little mole?
By the architect, keep your voice down, please. Even if what you say is true, this isn't a conversation best had amidst present company. Let's talk somewhere more private. Behind the CAF integration point, perhaps?
On a scale of 1 to 100, how pleased are you with the garden in its current state? Please, try to capture your exact satisfaction to the nearest tenth.
100? Certain. That's the right answer, isn't it? I can show my map if you need. Really love to stay.
Yeah.
Traveling at the velocity of light through space on our primary band.
Hello. Welcome to CAF Integration Point. I'm Junior Caffeine Celebrant Runch, and I'll be happy to assist you today. Oh, she's a real top-of-class type. Smart, but also patient. I struggle sometimes with my advanced courses, but Persephone's been tutoring me after work hours. I'm just glad she doesn't mind teaching the same lesson twice. Anyway, I'd hate to waste any more of your free study period with my idle thoughts. Anything else I can help with? Apologies. As a junior celebrant, I'm only permitted to distribute caffeine at this time. But my colleague, Persephone, Miss Doyle, will be able to assist with convictions when... oh, is this another census? Were my previous answers not sufficient? I could spend all day expositing on the benefits of the garden, but I think you'll experience much of it yourself.
Analysis. When asked about the average color of space, the famous stellar cartographer used the focus chart to find. No hesitation. Too experienced for astronomy. His answer was the expected one.
You must be curious why I asked for such a discreet rendezvous. Allow me to whet your appetite for intrigue a little further, shall I? I have adequate reason to believe the Order is conducting a mass experiment on the population of Laplace's garden. Recall what you have observed thus far. Isn't it strange how calm everyone is? The Order is in the middle of a war. A war, one might say, they are losing. The Order is not cultivating its perfect, plan-abiding society through careful ideological pruning, as the laureates would have you believe. It's simple pharmacology. Put bluntly, they're regulating the emotions of everyone in Laplace's garden through drugs in the water supply. I'm limiting my water intake and using other pharmaceuticals to combat the effects. It's not a perfect system, but it works adequately enough. It'd be a lot more difficult to conduct my survey of the garden from outside the garden. Why would the Order want to create a society of undistractable little academics whose only desire is to advance the plan? I wonder. Moderate your volume, please. No one here is in any immediate peril. Probably. The Order claims the subjects here supposedly consented to participate, but it was begun prior to the schism with the Protectorate, so who's to say? Regardless, if the Order has made some kind of pharmaceutical breakthrough, imagine how useful it might be to certain parties to know about it in advance. I represent a group of information traders who would pay well to get their hands on a sample of this drug. Interested? So you've heard of us. Good. That makes this easier. My primary task has been to watch the Order. But I'm confident my superiors would agree. Physical proof is of far greater value than mere rumor. No, this is about control. Everything is. Nothing nefarious, if that's the needle in your conscience. We only mean to study the drug and consider all of its many applications. I know that must read as terribly vague to you, but I'm not at liberty to provide more detail than that. All you need to do is enter water reconditioning and collect a sample of the drug. I believe they call it Perspective. This passcode will give you access to the main terminal. Watch the guards patrol before making your way into the facility. If worst comes to worst, I wager Laureate Beckett also has a keycard on him, but that might be tricky to lift. Lately, he's been sitting near the fountains, performing his silly little breathing exercises. If he's not there, then he's likely in conference with the presiding bishop. Whatever you do, be discreet. I can't have any laureates asking questions about me. Understood? It's too diluted by the time it enters circulation. I need the unfiltered drug, which is only accessible to those working in water reconditioning. Outside of work, I have, let's call it an alternative inventory. You'll have to pay, of course, but and I'd like to offload some of this merchandise. Sounds like a win-win.
What a lamentable state of affairs. I remember the days when Laplace's garden lived up to its estimable purpose. Now look at it. The fountain in disrepair, pedagogy in the park, even the lights above our heads have winked out like stars taken down from the sky. Nevertheless, one must persist. The plan is good. The shadow of ignorance cannot withstand its light. I knew you had a knowledgeable look about you. That would be wonderful. Thank you, dear. There's a panel just here. I will supervise from a respectable distance, but know that I am with you in theory, like the architect's own guiding hand. And so there was light. My sincerest thanks. I will be sure to extol your virtues to the laureates the next time we speak. And here, a little treat for your effort.
A second makeup exam will not be off, so I hope you studied this time, Briar. You may begin now.
Right. No pressure.
caught talking during this makeup exam. Oh, what does it matter? Can't mark the occipital from the parietal with these voided questions. And is there something wrong with the air recyclers? It's getting hard to breathe. Oh, good. Just me then. Can't believe my future in the Order will be decided by an understanding of the vaporescent properties of trinitrotoluenes. I don't even like bitrotoluenes. My vision's gone a bit fuzzy, but the exam's right here on the monitor. Have a look. You asked! I'm already perspiring beyond acceptable odor levels. Thank you. I'm sure I'd recover my wits enough to tackle the rest of the test if you can just help me make sense of the first question. Just be discreet, won't you? My vision's gone a bit fuzzy, but the exam's right here on the monitor. Have a look. I'm sure I'd recover my wits enough to tackle the rest of the test if you can just help me make sense of the first question. Just be discreet, won't you?
For pity's sake, is it the... Is it the pump or the sealant? Industrial science is mostly theory, they said. You won't have to put your knowledge into practice for years, they said. Now the fountain's broken and I can't... Useless. I'm useless. Am I fretting? No. No one in the garden frets. Why would they? Well, there was Roberto. But then he was assigned to the delegation and... Should have been back by now, actually. We had an avalanche recently, not far from the dome. One of these fountains stopped working around the same time. Stands to reason something must have been jostled loose. I recently placed into the industrial sciences, so I've been entrusted to fix the issue. But I've never had to put my knowledge into application before. It's not going well. You must be an agent of the architect. The panel here controls the intake and outtake for the fountains. I'd start there.
cognizant attention. The aim is to nominate
Oh, praise the architect. I hear water running. Come see, it's beautiful.
suppress our curiosity for the moment.
Lift access is currently restricted. Keep moving.
Hey! Only security personnel are permitted in this booth. Leave. Please. At this time, residents of the Delta Garden are not permitted beyond this point.
If you need to discharge any sputum, I ask you kindly aim such accretions away from my general direction. Thank you. No, not dead. Not yet. Nor imminently, one hopes. I am merely waiting. I have no idea. Sometime last year, I predetermined an occasion of momentous import would happen today, right here, at these very coordinates. Oh no. You know what they say about having too many totalizers on the same sum? Precisely. Oh my goodness, it's refreshing to converse with someone so like-minded. Leslie Beckett, Oracle Laureate, Seer Supreme, leader of the Department of Predictive Analysis, and not terribly good at informal introductions, evidently. Forgive me if I don't shake hands. I prefer to keep my skin microbiome free of exogenetic cells. You understand? But now, if I'm not mistaken, you must be the agent we've been expecting. I knew loitering at this location would yield results. I don't suppose you've stumbled upon any of our excogitation chapels around Cloister by chance? Excogitation chapels are order residencies where one can meditate in solitude on specific theorems relating to the plan. They're scattered all around Cloister. Prior to the war, such focused study led to all manner of breakthroughs, with audio logs routinely kept by the scientician in residence. In these unprecedented times, such logs could harbor hidden wisdom. However, with the war on, I've sadly been unable to get my hands on the last of these recordings. All confidential, I'm afraid. Many are still under peer review, but I can assure you, their value is commensurate with, why, the discovery of gravity, or has the potential to be. Oh no, I couldn't possibly ask you to endanger yourself by seeking out these logs. Cloister is rather treacherous, and some of the chapels are difficult to reach by design. However, if you happened upon these chapels and recovered these logs, I would most certainly be interested in their contents. By my reckoning, the amount of logs to be collected is 4. You have that. 4. No more, no less. Each chapel should have at least one somewhere inside. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. How do you know about that? I mean, that is quite the allegation. I deny it effusively. As you have cleverly sussed out, Laplace's garden is the subject of an experiment into social conditioning, or curating, if you will, through the use of therapeutic pharmacology. We have been administering a pharmaceutical to the population of the garden via the water supply that aids in emotional regulation. We call it perspective. It's odorless, harmless. Well, apart from the withdrawal, but I can assure you we have our best minds working on that little issue. Minor complication at worst. Irritation, paranoia, increased desire to gamble, oddly enough. All manageable conditions, of course. We are increasingly operating with fewer resources, however, and most regrettably, we've had to eject more and more subjects from the experiment in order to continue it. In a plan-perfected universe, we would have ample time to wean participants off perspective before sending them out of the garden. But, alas, we do not live in that universe. Yet. Fortunately, your discomfort is not a determining factor in the continuation of the program. Primarily, though not exclusively, because you don't live here, at any rate. I have no interest in debating the ethics of this experiment with a layperson. No offense. Don't we all? Nothing beyond what I already included in my 165-page summary of the incident. Why do you ask? His resignation has been duly received and accepted. Where he goes from here or what he does now is up to him. I expect we won't hear from him anytime soon. On a more positive note, the Department of Predictive Analysis's biennial summits will be far less contentious. Of course I do. That is precisely why my energy is better channeled toward the future, to ensure such tragic events never happen again. Landon Wiley was afflicted by that which strickens all scholars, the desire to effect change, to advance the plan at any cost. Were his methods wrong? Unequivocally. Should he have come to me with his concerns? Undeniably. But was his conclusion categorically sound? That remains debatable. Generally, yes. Although it's important to remember that unexpected outcomes can still arise from failed experiments. But let's move on to other topics, please. All this fractious talk is giving me a stomachache and... Oh, I just got rid of the lap. Oh, the garden is a marvel, isn't it? A prime example of how this colony could function if led by science and rationality instead of fear and oppression. Everything within the garden was meticulously selected by a committee of the Order's best archivists to provide for mental clarity and focus. My word, you should have seen the debates over the shrubbery. I've never witnessed such passionate discourse over foliage of all things. And what a history it is. The Order of the Ascendant, along with the Archive, has been headquartered on this moon since the founding of the colony. It was given to us by the matriarch herself. She understood how vital our contributions would be to Arcadian society, which some have forgotten. It is why we're here, in fact. Cloister has two things in abundance: ice and geothermal power. Both made it the ideal location for the Archive, and we've utilized its vast computational power ever since. Indeed. It's been a favorite bone, fought over by the dogs of war, but I have every confidence it will end up back under Order control sometime in the next year. You're 7. But other stray inquiries occupy your mind. Impossible, I'm afraid. The Protectorate is rather well entrenched at present, and nothing short of an all-out siege is likely to dislodge them. If you're determined, I recommend consulting with the presiding bishop on the matter. She can tell you more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You. I don't know who you are. But if you thought it wise to bring a cultist into the heart of Order territory, you are deeply foolish. I have not the slightest theory as to how you bypassed our guards. But if it was through violence, be assured, it will be returned exponentially. Explain. Now. Whatever your circumstance, words alone will not gain my trust. And if you do not gain my trust, you shall not gain that of the Order, which I expect is what you desire. There is a cultist-centric issue the Order needs resolved. I suspect you are capable of doing such. If you are not, I cannot trust you, and certainly cannot allow you to see Ruth.
If these cultists are suffering the same affliction of being traitorous curs as the others seem to be, then I look forward to killing them.
My task is this. A myriad of cultists have taken over the settlement of Newton, which is a nearby site of historical but not strategic significance. I want them gone. Once there was a bridge stretching from the settlement to the archive, but it was destroyed by a rift. Best keep your distance should you travel there.
As much as I'd welcome the bloodshed, it may be wise for me to avoid members of the Dawn until I get their treachery sorted.
If the Order could predict the future infallibly, my mentors would be alive. Seers become less accurate the more specific and more distant the prediction. All that aside, you shall need the Order's trust if you wish to see Ruth. This task will allow that. Journey to Newton. Eliminate the cultists to a person. Then we may speak of getting you an audience with Ruth. Newton contains the Six Pillars Chantry, which was one of the first temples founded after Arcadia's colonization. It's over 100 years old. The cultists are likely profaning it. But even if they aren't, I don't want them there. Our loss of Newton is symbolic. If we cannot protect it, how can we protect Arcadia? You're results-oriented. I can understand that. Fine. Expect a tangible reward on top of the Order's goodwill. May you prove my plethora of doubts unfounded. And may you keep your cultist colleague in line on your way out.
You're lucky the commander needs something from you, or you'd be looking at your intestines on the ground right about now.
The Chamber of Conflict Evaluation and Strategic Planning is currently off limits to non-essential Order personnel.
No admittance without the Artificer Laureate's permission.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Agent, over here.
Hello, stranger. Mercenary. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Any undue rage you note in my tone is not at all related to the recent coup in my beloved protectorate. I do so dearly love residing in a nest of traitors, waiting for them to capitulate, unable to aid my fellows at home. It is truly a wonderful feeling. I cannot leave. My sovereign-given task is to bring the Order back into the Protectorate fold. But now it seems as if I must also bring the Protectorate into its own fold. One deed at a time, Philo. I am not just anyone. The duty of a liaison is of the utmost importance, requiring due diligence and delicacy. Though I suppose it a mite strange that this task fell to me, is I'd urge the vehement tanning of any wayward body bent on disrespecting the Protectorate, which would now include the Protectorate at large. Madness, slandering my beloved sovereign, following that feckless consul, makes my blood boil. We'll see this through yet. I've proudly served the Protectorate my whole life. Now look at it. Traitors from without, traitors from within. It's enough to make an old man despair. That consul, I never trusted that miserable bastard. His betrayal is so galling, I'd almost care to join the armed forces to bring him to justice myself. But my hands quaver with age, and the Sovereign has tasked me with my own duty. I must see it to completion before all else. Listen, you. The Protectorate does not do delegation. The Protectorate has a will that must be upheld. My presence here is a display of more faith than these fools deserve. Niceties are irrelevant, and likely detrimental to the task at hand. I am here to make the Order see the error of their ways. All other particulates are... Hate is an inaccurate phrase. I find them arrogant and exasperating. Without the Protectorate, this little organization would have no holdings to squat in. I am here because the Sovereign has tasked me with bringing these wayward, pretentious toddlers back into the Protectorate fold. Unfortunately, my time here has taught me that only mass death has the power to change the local hearts and minds. Perhaps enough will...
Well, this is a welcome confluence of events. Why, without you, Gertie and I wouldn't be alive. And any hope of peace between the Order and Auntie's choice would be over. Dreadful, you know. Positively dreadful. How the peace talks were interrupted. I felt our two delegations were making real progress. Officially, not at present. Gertie and I have kept up communication through back channels in the hope that the discussions can be reconvened in due time. It is my earnest belief that this is the optimal course to chart for the Order, and for Arcadia. Though we could certainly use assistance from an outside force like yourself. To begin, I believe you would need to put forth efforts in good faith with each of the two groups. Earning the trust of both sides is essential. Once you've worked your way up to meeting our respective leaders, you must convince them to consider joining forces. For one, having the allied might of their forces at your back when facing down the Protectorate. If that's not sufficient, perhaps some additional incentive could also be provided. And if you might consider an appeal to your better nature, ending the conflict between Anti's choice and the Order would have untold benefits for all Arcadia. Transplendent. Remember, seek out ways to help both sides, engender trust. Gertie and I can let you know when it's time to move forward. In the meantime, I might recommend you work on honing your oratory skills. Our presiding bishop and Auntie Cleo can be challenging to debate with.
In any discernible way, my historic egg remains were simply too small to be seen and felt by the unaided eyes and tongues of their consumers.
personalized order prediction yet. I'll admit to a bit of trepidation in regards to opening mine. This is the first one I've received since the launch.
Honestly, the ones you get in the field are lifesavers. I would have been dead 3 times over without mine.
Oh, that does set my mind at ease. Now, let's see. Mine says, don't consume tea this morning. Oh.
You already consumed this morning's tea, haven't you?
Yes. Use caution as you progress. There's been reports of persepods in the area.
Proceeding to attack. Target analyzed. Lay down fire.
It appears we dealt with all of them. Oh, that was a close one.
Please assess your pain on a variable scale, 1 to 100. 1 being entirely pain-free and 100 being the worst pain you can imagine.
There is far too much variability in that scale. The amount of pain I can imagine is hardly an objective measure of the maximum amount of pain I could actually feel. Yeah.
Your observation is correct, which is a diagnostic in its own right. Now, if you were to indicate, using a scale of 0.4 to 12.7, how close you are to going into shock.
Sadly, that scale is entirely beyond my current comprehension, thus leading me to believe I'm already in shock, and the question itself was the actual test.
Excellent. Diagnostic.
Do you see these magnificent weapons? They have the greatest destructive potential the Protectorate can bring to bear. Tell me then, why should they not have been installed here?
Not an issue of ammunition or targeting calculations. Is it because of the low ambient temperature on board?
Very the ambient temperature is below a critical
Is there not one specific outcome we can determine?
ignored our warning.
Instances like this are they really
Correct. In every turn we tried to guide them with God's
Antis can't even direct their deployment of food drops properly. I suppose I better clean this mess up.
I heard they analyzed these in a lab months ago. They're almost pure sugar and artificial flavors with virtually no nutritional value.
I read that report, actually. I have a level 1 in chemistry, and I have no idea what most of the artificial compounds in it are. The lab techs refuse to even attempt to.
Seriously? Your shift on the front line is about to start. Bid farewell to the fire. Well,